cannot tell the name of the college, but it's in US. If you see, the entire college network and systems were used and breached and used to mine crypto, which is definitely an illegal activity. Uh, Not just that, the students themselves had coded in such a way that if there is any kind of an anomaly detection being triggered, uh, the system would automatically shut down, and it was a polymorphic malware which was introduced into the system so that the malware changes its patterns not to get detected. So that was one of the big cases I dealt with. Going forward, if you guys do know what happened in AIMS in Delhi, the ransomware attack where we lost almost 1.3 gigabyte of data to the Chinese servers. We don't know what they are doing with, how they are weaponizing the data, what they have lost. In fact, thanks to Safdarjung Hospital, where the emergency surgeries were shifted, the ambulance were rerouted because of the breach and the attack that happened, because the system was completely taken down from the AIMS, where the patients, if you think about it, if you go to an hospital and try to work with a doctor, and the doctor knows that he knows your face, but he doesn't know anything about you other than that, because everything what is stored about you on a computer is wiped out. Think about that scenario. It's so dangerous today. Right? Go to any clinic, go to any kind of a sophisticated hospital, and you realize that you are absolutely an unknown person in this entity, because nobody recognizes you without having the digital footprint of your entire health records. So that's exactly what the critical care, critical surgeries were shifted from AIMS. Uh, we're also dealing with a lot of fake synthetic identity thefts. In terms of what we are realizing out here is the social security numbers and the date of births were created building the credit profiles of people. Think about it. Like, let me tell you that a scenario in India, if you guys are based out of Dharwad, you guys are sharing your Aadhaar number, some people are sharing their bank information, and using all this information, somebody in Meghalaya or somebody in Mizoram builds your entire credit profile, takes the loan, starts to enjoy that money, and becomes bankrupt, creating a big uh, dip into your credit history, so that tomorrow when you go to a bank thinking of that I need to purchase a loan, so I need to take a loan to make a purchase on a house, the bank declines your loan application saying that you're already a defaulter, where you have no idea in terms of which bank you have taken a loan, nor you have an idea about how much money is that. But you're already doomed. So that's exactly was a huge cartel, huge scam that was going on. We busted it, we stopped it. I'm not saying that it's completely gone away out of the window. It is still happening. Uh, Last but not the least is my favorite in Arequipa, in Peru. We were dealing with one of the political scenario wherein finally, so this one political bigwig died into a multinational hospital uh, by natural causes. And this case came to us, and we started investigating this case from Europol. Uh, Realized there were a lot of Russian digital footprints that were left, trace logs that were left, and further investigation led that it was a planned attack to hack into the, which we call it as HIMS, which is Hospital Information Management System, to alter or manipulate the lab records of that particular individual, where you can think about it, right? Just to give you an example, like look at your blood test reports that's coming into a form of a PDF, which is coming generated from a system today, and your HbA1c is constantly altered or manipulated. So the doctor decides to give you insulin. Now, the body starts to realize that I don't have to generate natural insulin because the insulin has been provided externally to me. Now, that continues for a higher doses, and over a period of time, your kidneys start to fail. And because of the loss of kidney, you pretty much die. Now, that's exactly what happened in Peru. Uh, Everybody thought that the gentleman died because the big political figure died because of a natural causes. Only we uncovered the fact that it was not from the natural causes. It was a politically driven and motivated case in terms of uh, looking at the individual life, how it can be compromised as such. Uh, Not the fault of the doctors, because doctors are purely going by how and what the reports have been generated and suggested, not even understanding the fact that there has been a manipulation from the back end. Uh, the insulin was just an example, but he was induced with a lot of other drugs which was not needed to that particular person. But again, uh, not to blame the medical fraternity out here, because eventually they will follow what is there in the medical records, not necessary that everybody would look into an individual pulse. Gone are the days where the doctor would ask you to sit in front of him and evaluate everything together. So what I'm trying to make you guys understand is that cybersecurity, you might be thinking, oh, somebody is sending me uh, uh, some financial or I would say economic offenses, but a part of it, somebody's asking me to click a link, somebody's stealing my password, somebody's stealing my user IDs and all that. No, cybercrime has gone beyond that. It has much more manifested into being a $10 trillion economy when it comes to the stealing and the cyber criminal paradise, what I personally say. When you say $10 trillion, it's almost like a third biggest country in the world, right? Like you after US and China, third biggest country, if you want to attribute it to be, it can be cybercrime. That's the economy of what cybercrime is. Moving on, some of the things which we also deal with is, if you see a camera on a window, what do I mean by that is we had this case of one of the famous celebrity where her private pictures were leaked when she was having an intimate moment with her partner on the 26th floor of a building. Think about it, 26th floor. So 26 stories up in the sky. Nobody can think that there's a camera outside the window. Like I stay on the 10th floor in my apartment. Like right now I'm in the hotel, which is on the 11th or the 12th floor in a hotel room here in Abu Dhabi. But I don't think that there would be a camera outside my window, right? So the leave alone 26th floor. But what paparazzis did was that they hired a hacker, and the hacker hacked into a nearby drone, and they sent the drone all the way to the 26th floor to capture those movements. It is so unfortunate, but that can happen today. You see, the privacy is literally compromised from every particular angle when it comes to cybercrime or cybersecurity. Uh, Most of you guys might be from the Gen Zs and generation, so you do understand that there are new ways of judging people today when it comes to understanding the fact of I can still create a lot of bots, and whatever you post on your Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter, I can create a script and start writing negative comments. Trust me, my friends, within a couple of days, you would dare to come out of your house. You will slump into your depression and have anxiety and panic attacks, thinking the entire society has thrown me off the grid. So that's the reality. What's happening? I'm pretty sure that's happening even in India as well, because I've seen a lot of people who are literally surviving their livelihoods based on likes and comments and subscriptions, whatnot. But that's the digital age where we are heading. Pay or get leaked. That's true. Sextortion is a big thing. You get a call, you disconnect it, you get a video call, you just disconnect it. but your picture is already taken, morphed, and suddenly you get a video where you are part of the obscene uh, video or an image, and suddenly, oh, you got to give me money. Otherwise, I'm going to leak this across. Happening. Like it or not, that's happening even in India. In fact, I was with Shashi Kumar, the Commissioner of Police of Dharwad district, and we were talking about the kind of cases what they get registered. Shivraj was also there, Assistant Commissioner of Police was also there, and we were dealing with what kind of cases what we are dealing with FBI out here, and discussing how do we increase the sensitivity and the vigilance and awareness towards these kind of cyber crimes into the community of Dharwad and Hubli and Dharwad out there. Well, the unfortunate side of cybercrime is also much worse in terms of what do I see the child organ and sex trafficking. And one of the worst things what I'm seeing is that our own India has been rising up the ladder when it comes to organ trafficking and child trafficking. Uh, Probably sex trafficking as well. I was in Delhi. I was with the Ministry of Home Affairs. We were having a workshop, and one of the statistics which came out during that discussion, it's quite alarming uh, to see that there are a few states in India. I don't want to name those states, but there are a few states in India, the 3 or 4 states in India, which add up to almost equivalent of the child and organ trafficking cases compared to the rest of the part. So what do I mean by that is that there are 4 states out of 31, 32 states, whatever current number is. There are 4 states. uh, well, if you take an example of the rest of the India, there are 100 cases, example, 100 cases coming of child and organ trafficking from the rest of the 25, 26, or 27 states. The same number of cases are generated by or happening in these 4 states. So that's really an alarming, and that's not where we should be heading into. But unfortunately, you see, the entire cartel has moved to the digital platforms today, and that's what's happening. Uh, Finally, I was with one of the cases where Alexa was hacked, and that's not me. That's NDTV that is telling you guys what happened was that Alexa was hacked and was scripted to give a challenge to a child, asking it to take a coin, take a 1 rupee coin, and put into a live electric plug. So you can imagine what can happen to the child. So you can imagine what's happening and to what extent the cybercrime and cybersecurity has evolved just by being your digital threat to a livelihood threat today, to a mental threat, to a privacy threat, to even to an extent to a, I would say, the huge money making business and threat to an individuality, threat to an individual life per se. Now, moving on, I just want to make sure, can somebody confirm I'm still on the call and you guys can hear me? Because since I'm sharing my screen in full screen, I'm not able to know whether I'm still with you guys or have you guys already lost me. Hello? It is already, okay. Can you not see the full screen? I thought I'm already on the full screen. Okay, perfect. So now let's look at the generational AI in terms of the artificial intelligence, what I called as the battle of the bots, right? The battle of the bots is like everybody's speaking about the AI today in terms of what is happening into the world of AI, what is uh, so let me kind of decipher in terms of what is happening. If you see, there is huge increase, and one of the biggest threats today, what we are seeing is deep fakes. Uh, the AI is generating your deep faked audio, video. It can generate to an extent in terms of creating a societal unrest. So when it comes to your smart industries, manufacturing, whether to do with smart cities, there is a lot of scope in terms of the manipulation because of the legacy systems people are sitting on. Your neural network poisoning in terms of the AI threat detection slowly can be poisoned into it. But again, it's the same AI which can also protect us against all these hyper engineered uh, attacks versus one we look at how do we use the AI to protect against these digitally evolved threats. So in fact, like we have been using AI and quantum in terms of creating a lot of latest and next generation anomaly detection tools. We are using AI in terms of cryptography. And thanks to you guys in mathematicians, that's what I want to talk about. The next slide, I will go a little depth into it because of using so much of deep mathematics into the world of cybersecurity. Like, in fact, using digital platforms like whether to do with cryptography, whether to do with multi dimensional modeling techniques, whether to do with encryption. So it's a big scope in terms of how mathematics can help cybersecurity into this computational age, right? So especially the probability and predictions, that's another platform where we see mathematicians coming together and helping us, leave alone the missile systems what we work on, the thrust systems what we work on. So physics, mathematics, and cybersecurity is a big game changer as of now what's happening around, especially the field I'm working in the military defense. So if you look about the computational part of it, so cryptography is an area where we are using m- uh, prime factorization, the arithmetic modeling. uh, well, because the credit card transactions, what happen, look at it like you're buying a product on Amazon and you're processing your let's say 1,000 rupees bill, and the way the factorization is happening is very complex, that is being generated. Somebody has been writing an encryption algorithm at the back end using uh, prime factors, using your modular arithmetic to make sure that there is no reverse traceability of the credit card transaction, so that the there remains a security in terms of the transactional part of it. If you take about the SVDs, the same thing what it does. Whether to do with Bayesian statistics, that's another area what we are talking about. Like, think about it. Your email spam filtering. So I'm not sure whether you guys are still getting emails from your Nigerian uncle that he has left you some 50 lakh rupees, and all he's asking for your bank account information so that he can deposit. So using Bayesian techniques, uh, we know for sure that this is no more you don't have a Nigerian uncle. Uh, so thanks to that, thanks to those models, neither you have a Russian girlfriend who is waiting at the airport and stuck with customs, where you are just waiting for her to come out of the airport, and she's saying is that, oh, can you transfer 2 lakh rupees so that I can bribe the custom officers and come out of this place. But that's actually is happening. How do we know? How do we know that it's a hyper social engineered email, for whether it's to do with spear phishing, whether it's uh, to do with in terms of the mass wishing technique. Wishing is where on the phone you are getting a call which is considered to be a spam. How do we know that? Somebody who's sitting and developing this product has been a great statistician, great mathematician who's doing it, right? Now, of course, Heisenberg uncertainty principles, right? Well, this is a great technique what we use in military communications, especially when it to do with the communication from the JAD-C2, which is JAD-C2 means Joint All Domain Command and Control Center, right? So JAD-C2, where we are talking about a multi-dimensional communication between an aircraft carrier, a missile launcher, and the command center, and plus the operative team which is on the boots out there, right, in the battlefield. So when we talk about these kind of communication, and all these communication needs to stay secure, so of course that is where we are talking about Heisenberg uncensored principle. Like, that encryption needs to be absolutely unbreakable. We cannot be in a position to have any sort of communication pattern being compromised. Now, this just, I can go on and on and on. It doesn't going to end out here. But what I'm trying to convey uh, in a gist to across, expertise in mathematics is something, is not need to be restricted to that I'm going to continue being a teacher in one of the universities or colleges. It has gone beyond into it. If you're going to study mathematics, do it really well, because we as an industry are getting really benefited out of this. uh, in fact, there are a lot of case studies which I can share with across using the group theory, across with QRNG in terms of random number generations. Uh, how do we secure? Because casino business is one of the biggest businesses what's happening across the world, and how do we stay secured so that we do not have any kind of an vulnerability that is being left out into it. So if you look at the mathematics, it is one of the biggest game changer. Thanks to all of you, thanks to be the experts in the field of mathematics, that it has helped us to build secure systems out here. I'll definitely open for questions for the last 5 or 10 minutes. Otherwise, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer right now. Uh, any questions, any inputs before I move on? I don't think so. More than happy to move. So, what happens in terms of how cyber crimes evolve, how cyber crimes happen? It always starts with tiny blunders. It doesn't need to happen from the complicated systems. It doesn't have to start from the sophisticated attacks. A lot of things start from the tiny blunders. Let's look at them. One of the things you need to understand is that the cyber criminal paradise is absolutely ruthless, absolutely selfish. I do get calls almost every week. Somebody is trying to beg me, saying that, "Oh, sir, I lost 2 lakh rupees. Can you somehow recover it for me?" Oh, well, you know what? I accidentally clicked on the link and my entire account is wiped out. I don't know what to do. My social media profile has been hacked. Somebody is sending a lot of obscene messages to everybody on Facebook or Instagram. I don't know what to do. There is no remorse to it. Nobody is kind of working towards giving you some kind of benefit of doubt or being a little bit empathetic towards your situation. Nope. You might be standing in the queue to make the payment to a hospital where one of your close friend got admitted, and you lose the money. Just because of that, the hackers are not going to give you the money back. It's gone. It's definitely gone. That's what uh, we deal with, a situation with law enforcement, the police people. You need to immediately report to 1930, and because of the golden hour, what you have, which is within 24 hours, if you want to engage banks and to reverse the transactions, or at least to put on hold for a transaction, whether not less the reverse part of it. So let's look at what happens when it comes to cybersecurity. You know, most of you guys are working with an unprotected Wi-Fi device, Wi-Fi, where I see that a lot of people are using same passwords. The passwords are shared across to everyone. That's one of the biggest glitches. And I've also dealt with a case where a lot of people lost their private information, privacy, when it came to using the default Wi-Fi passwords, or putting all the rogue systems, whether it to do with the camera, the outside cameras, or your printing machines, or whether to do with your smart systems into your house, switches and all that onto the main network. They could have just put it on the guest Wi-Fi, but they chose to put it on the same network as how you operate, and ended up losing a lot of information into it. Improper browser securities. Download a cookie, download a browser extension, because that will tell you what are the next best deals going on Zomato or Swiggy, or coupons to book a ticket for a movie or an airline ticket. But guess what? They are also collecting your information. They are also collecting your access tokens, session tokens. Nothing is safe and secure because it's free. Think about it. How would Facebook, or how would Mark Zuckerberg become the richest person on this planet Earth? By giving you a free tool, which we call it as Facebook or WhatsApp or Instagram. How is he making money? Because think about it. If you are not paying for the product, you are the product. I repeat it. If you are not paying for the product, you are the product. Somebody is selling you. Now, lack of user awareness. This is again what's happening. Last week, a school friend of mine lost almost like 38 lakh rupees. That's almost a life saving, isn't it? 38 lakh rupees is not a small amount, guys. She lost that entire money. Guess what? She didn't choose to tell and engage the law enforcement immediately, because she was talking to a lot of her friends to deal with how do I overcome this situation. She was taking a lot of advice from all the friends. Only when it reached to my school WhatsApp group, I told first thing you should engage is the law enforcement. Bring them into the loop, and by that time the golden hour was already gone. Of course, they could freeze their account not to lose more money, but that 38 lakh rupees gone into the wind. So, knowing is extremely important, how to reach out and when to reach out. And so device security management, that's another thing. Is a lot of people want to go with free antiviruses, or at least let's go, oh yeah, you know what, I have a crack code for Windows. Oh, you know what, you don't have to pay for Adobe Photoshop. I have a crack for it. Install it. Permissions management, unpatched vulnerabilities. What do I mean by unpatched vulnerabilities? Is that every time somebody reminds, your computer reminds you, can we install, please install updates and restart the system, you inadvertently choose the option remind me later. You don't want to do that right now because you're much busy to do something else which you think it is important, which isn't actually in reality. Password management, weak passwords. Oh my gosh, you guys have no idea what kind of password I have been seeing when it comes to the hacker's paradise. What I've been like, if you see, there are a lot of password sniffing tools, what we call as credential stuffing, which the hackers use uh, multi methods to collect your passwords, whether to do with through the sessions, the keyloggers, or packet filtering, packet sniffing. There are a lot of people who are collecting your passwords and reading those passwords and user IDs through a lot of apps and caches, everywhere it is going on right now. But it's really shocking that how weak your own passwords are. So let's you don't have to answer me right now, but look at yourself. Where do you stand? You know, if your passwords are part of the only letters or numbers, I think these are things which are gone now, because a lot of tools are mandating you to use or create a password using an uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and special characters. Um, Now, but that doesn't stop there. Although you might be having a very good password, but if your password is the same, like you have the banking password for SBI is the same as your Instagram password, or your college ID password is the same as the password for your Gmail, right? So it's a common password. Many people end up doing these mistakes. The last one being AI unpredictable passwords, which means that we using AI can generate or randomize your password based on your social media footprint. Like most of the times, it might be the first name, as the rate of your date of birth, or your boyfriend, girlfriend, your children, your brother, your father and mother, or anybody's name, or the date of birth, the combination of your pin code, combination of your city name, the combination of your wedding anniversary, or the last 4 or 5 digits of your phone numbers. It can be anything, guys, but at the same time, it doesn't take a rocket science for us to randomize and use some of the generative techniques to get to these known passwords. So that's an AI unpredictable passwords and passphrases. But that's not what. You guys think about it. Where do you stand, right? Because what I want to tell you now is that based on the complexity of your passwords and the time to breach, how much time we as hackers need to breach your password. So I don't know where you are. You might be here, you might be here, or you might be here. I don't know where you are right now. But look at it. How much time do we need to crack into your password using brute force? If I'm given a sophisticated, really a good next generation state-of-art technology or system, I can clearly hack into the passwords within these minutes. Now, going on. So, I'm not ashamed to make this statement because people don't listen to the advices what we always give. So passwords are like your underwears. You got to invest in good quality. Go back and create a complicated password. Make sure you put a stronger, put a strength, well-defined password. Next one, change them regularly. How often do you change? Many people say that, sir, I haven't changed the password from the day I created an account. That's really not great, guys. Because one of the things what we see into the hacker paradise like dark web, the average time to change the password databases which are being collected through multiple sources is pretty much between 23 to 26 minutes. 23 to 26 minutes. I'm not even talking about hours. I'm not even talking about days. I'm not even talking about months. That is where and how the passwords are collected and dumped into the databases. So you got to be vigilant. You got to be, really, really protective towards your own systems. Don't share them with anyone else. Now that's a different thing. What I've seen people writing the passwords on sticky note and putting it on their desktop. They write the password and send it through the SMSs. They write the passwords on a piece of paper and leave it on the table because they don't want to remember their passwords. So that is one thing which you got to think about. Now, why cybersecurity as an industry? What you guys should focus on? It's as simple as that. It's the only industry that has grown 20% CAGR, compounded annual growth rate, in the last 10 years. When I started in cybersecurity in the early 2000s, it was pretty much prevalent to 6 industries. Now it has gone to 50 plus industries, wherein today, if you see, the universities are getting breached, the hospitals are getting breached, the petroleum and oil and gas manufacturing industries are getting breached, your power system, hydraulic power systems are getting attacked. So if you see, the scope of the work has increased almost 8 times, starting way back in 2000s when it was just banks, the insurances, some government institutions, now to almost anything and everything which has come in when it comes to the impact of cybersecurity. Hiring requirements had quadrupled. In fact, a lot of other industries are slowing down. The software development industry is slowing down, but the cybersecurity is growing rapidly. It is a great opportunity for anybody and everybody to think and move into an area of cybersecurity. Should there be an opportunity for you guys to move in? So please think about it. I don't want to get into the complicated topics of it here. So 3 cents of advice which I always want to give to everyone is, one is, the success is defined purely by being, the capacity is what I was able to speak for the last 45 minutes or so, then the capability is that you heard everything. How you are going to utilize this, or how you are going to utilize the fact that I spoke for 45 minutes and you heard me for 45 minutes. What are you going to do with it? That's your individual capability. Not necessarily that everyone has a same capability. Credibility is your value systems. If you want to grow into your career, you got to be having your value systems in place, starting from the respect towards your faculties, respect towards your teachers, your parents, respect towards your society. Think about it. Let me be quite clear. I've seen the entire world. This message is to my student friends if they are listening to me. The professors, the teachers, what you have right now, they are the last of the breed. What do I mean by that is you are very lucky that you have got amazing set of professors and teachers because they have put their life in front of you guys to make sure you are equipped with the best of the knowledge. The next generation teachers who are going to come will not be this serious, will not be this dedicated to build the academic ecosystem, because gone are the days where the seriousness of education, which was empowered by the academic experts because of a lot of ecosystem changes like digital training platforms that have come in today, in terms of whether to do online learning, online teaching. So make sure you create that credibility by starting with being honest, being respectful to your ecosystem, whether to do with ecosystem, with whether to do with your college or society or parents or personal life. It can be creating an integrity. It can be creating a communications. Credibility is very important for me when I look into. The second thing is if you have ever read the book Seven Habits of Highly Effective People from Stephen Covey, he always says sharpen the saw, which means never let that kid in you die. Keep your inquisitive nature in place. Keep questioning the status quo. Keep learning. Never let that learning curve go. In cybersecurity, there is never a day where you can say, I have learned everything. In fact, I've spent goddamn 24 years in the industry, which is pretty much bigger than the age of a lot of you guys sitting out there in the hall. Uh, I can never say I have a PhD, I have patents, I've published so many papers, but I can never say I know everything in cybersecurity. So is with you guys. You can never say I know everything in mathematics. Right? So that's quite true because we constantly need to invest in our own learning. So that's the one. The last thing is create your third dimension. What do I mean by create your third dimension? Is one is your professional path, the second is your personal path. Now, personal path is where you're dedicating to your family, your friends, your society, your relatives. Professionally is to your institution, whether to do with the company, managers, employees, clients. But the third dimension is where what you do for yourself, what you create your own brand. Now, why I want to tell that is eventually you want to go home thinking that I created a brand for myself. And if I want to show what is a brand I've created for myself, this is what I am. I've done close to 3,600 deep sea scuba dives, and that's me. That's me in all those pictures, by the way. So that's my third dimension. So with that thing, what I want to do, I've done 685 solo skydives, big time adventure junkie across the world, where there's not a country I've not visited when it comes to adventure sports, because that's what I am as a person. That's what makes me a risk taker and excel into cybersecurity. So if you want to stay connected, please take this. On the left, it's my LinkedIn information. On the right side, it's my Instagram. I'll stop here. I'm open for any questions if you guys have. So please feel free to ask questions. Should there be any questions? But I'm pretty sure you will use this information to connect with me on LinkedIn. Same with my Instagram. There are a lot of things which I keep sharing. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Good. So you're talking to me that I'm making an AK-47 next generation. Is that gun a good thing or a bad thing? I'll answer back to you saying it depends on the hands it is staying in right now. You cannot blame a gun. It is about, so one of the things what we are also thinking about is the Q day, right? Quantum day, wherein it's turned into a geopolitical warfare today, as of now. Which country will unleash its quantum power? Because today we are talking about 1024 is already cracked. We are talking about 2048 today, right? Uh, in fact, in terms of quantum encryption and quantum decryption about it. So we are talking about which country is going to unleash the Q day and bring the financial systems across the world down to its knees. Because that is where the first target will happen. That is where the first attack will happen. Your banking systems, your entire global supply chain of financial transactions. Now, it is like creating a new supersonic or ultra supersonic missile which will devastate the half of the population of the world. Like almost every country is working on it. The question is which country will launch it first. And so whether it's a and again, when you create a missile technology, you're not just creating it to devastate it. You're also creating something along with it as a dome to prevent it, to detect it, to protect it, right? So when you talk about quantum technology, I had a slide on quantum technology, and I didn't realize that you guys will be interested in quantum. Otherwise, I would have added into it. So probably when I'm in Dharwad next, we'll have a detailed discussion in quantum itself. But yes, there are so many areas what we are talking about using quantum, not just to do with the encryption part of it. It is to do with more to do with sustaining the ecosystem of transactional information, how fast we can communicate, especially when it comes to the military communications, what we are dealing with, a lot of things in terms of the logistical information which is being shared today are prone to big time attacks. So we are questioning our current status in terms of whether are we going to stay with the legacy systems. Think about it, right? Can a quantum technology bring your hydropower electrical system? Yes, it can, because the systems, what it was built 40 years ago, they never thought about security. They were always talking about latency. They were always talking about availability factor. The security was never thought about it. So using quantum, I can break the entire communication chain of the hydropower electrical system and bring down the entire city or a state without having power or electricity. So it is no more with just encrypt and decrypting. It is to do with an economic warfare. That is what I would say, sir. Again, coming back to the system, you cannot blame a sword. You need to blame a hand which is holding the sword to protect or to kill somebody. So, again, well, you haven't crossed 100 qubits is what publicly available information. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of companies and countries who are working underneath which have crossed much more beyond that. They just don't want to let the people know about it.
Professor, very good evening.
Good evening, sir. Hello, sir.
Professor, thank you very much for accepting our invitation. And then you did your presentation very nice. And then you said opportunities for the partner there in the cyber security and all that. Sir, we are very grateful to you. Thank you very much.
Most welcome, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you,
And
professor.
anything for my hometown, anything for because I have a very close affinicado with my hometown, Dharwad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's a place which has built me and made me what I am today. Whether it's to start with Jolad Roti, Badnika Palle, or Girmit or Mirchi, you can start from there to go to every other corner of Dharwad. That's where I am. That's what I have done for myself.
Anyway, I will be in touch with you, professor, and in future I will bring into the university and then address
Sure.
the university staff members.
Absolutely. Yes, we can do a repeat of this session to the wider audience. No, and much
Yes,
more
sir.
deeper we can go into it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Please.
Any other questions if you guys have? 3 more minutes I have before I leave.
And one of our IIT professor, Varva, is speak to you.
Sure. Great question. Yes. Wonderful. Great question. So, see, one of the things I would always start with basics. Start foundational knowledge of how technology is being built, how technology is being worked. Because mathematics has already superseded the basic technology components. You don't have to draw up a hardware configuration using mathematics. You have to think about how do I create a multi-dimensional theory when it comes to face recognition. Now, can this face recognition pattern or algorithm being built, can it be used to identify deep fakes? Right? But for that, a mathematician needs to understand how systems work. So I would suggest you start there. When I say like systems work, is that how the technology is being built, not just how it is working today, like AI layers. Understand the application layer, understand the presentations layer, data layer, network layer, link layer. So understand this. I'm not saying work on them. Understand these so that once you understand the foundational aspects, that is where you can identify the gaps, and that is where you start plugging into the gaps. Like recently, I published one of the papers where we were talking about privacy federation in autonomous vehicles from vehicle to X. What that means is, if you look at the concept, again, I go back to my early days where car is supposed to be most secured when it comes to the confidential transactions or discussions that were happening, right? Sharal Shetty sir might agree with me that if you're sitting in the car and talking, we might think that nobody is listening to us, and we can crack a deal of lakh rupees, but we could think that, oh, it's a very safe place. But now there are so many systems in the car that they are listening to us. We don't know. It's a federated privacy. So car is no more. Your house, your bedroom is no more a safe place to have confidential conversations. Now, how do we identify? How do we create a federated privacy? That is where your algorithms needs to be built. Now, to build these algorithms, the underlying factor to build algorithms is mathematics and physics, without which you cannot proceed with further. But for that, you need to understand how systems are built in the first place. That is where you compete with it. Only having theoretical knowledge is not going to use into it. So that's what I would say. The most. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Take care, guys. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you very much, professor. Oh, Jyoti.
Hello. Thank you, Amlan Bora sir, for chairing this session. Srinivas Kulkarni sir told us artificial intelligence is used in cybercrime and cyber security, and how to use Amlan Bora sir, thank you sir for chairing this session. Srinivas Kulkarni sir told us the difference between cybercrime and cyber security and how to use the development in the recent development in the artificial AI, that is the artificial intelligence is used in cybercrime and cyber security, and how to use in the day-to-day life, and how to apply it in the development in the mathematics. And thank you, sir.